Not so long ago in 2022, Adobe made a staggering move. They decided to buy its biggest rival Figma for a staggering $20 billion. Fast forward in 2024, that deal collapsed. And with its collapse, Adobe had no idea that this company would give Adobe the fight of its life. But how can a design tool that runs in a browser can compete with Adobe, which has been a go-to choice for every creator since decades? Seems impossible, right? Let's understand how a small startup ended up challenging a creative empire. For decades, Adobe has been the go-to choice for every creative. I have been personally using their softwares, and in fact, this video that you are watching are made by using Adobe's tool. It was the standard. You didn't choose Adobe, you had to just use it. But that power comes at a cost. Adobe's tools are massively complicated and expensive, especially when they switched back to subscription mode in 2013. Designers felt trapped. No more one-time purchases. You have to keep paying every month forever in your lifetime. And when you try to cancel their subscription fees, Adobe tries to hit you with a cancellation fee, often 50% of the remaining subscription. You usually find out about this cancellation fees after you have subscribed, like it's not included in the agreement before you subscribe to the subscription mode. They don't exactly highlight that part upfront. For many, that was the final straw. Adobe stopped looking like a company that was empowering creativity, but started looking more like a company that was monetizing it. That was the right time for a small startup like Figma, who was quietly building something. In 2012, two founders, Dylan Field and Evan Wallace, had a creative idea. What if design didn't need heavy software or expensive licenses? What if you could design right in your browser in real time? Back then, it sounded impossible. Many people laughed at them because there was that convention that design tools were supposed to be only software. But Figma proved everyone wrong. They made a tool that ran completely online, fast, smooth, and surprisingly powerful. No downloads, no setups, no waiting for files to save. Just open your browser and start creating. And that's where Figma did something that Adobe couldn't even do for years. It made design collaborative. Instead of sending files back and forth, teams could now design, comment, and edit in the same space at the same time. It was like Google Docs, but for designers. Slowly, designers started switching. Startup, tech companies, and even bigger companies started to rely on Figma because it was faster, smoother, and built for teamwork. While Adobe sold complexity, Figma sold collaboration. And that's how a small browser tool started shaking the throne of a giant creative empire. This wasn't the first time Adobe was facing a threat like this, like history was repeating itself. Back in 2005, there was a company that was challenging Adobe's dominance, Macromedia. They were the creators of some of the most popular design tools of that era: Flash, Dreamweaver, and Fireworks. Their products were fast, modern, and loved by designers all over the world. And just like Figma, Macromedia was evolving in the ways Adobe couldn't. So what did Adobe do? They didn't compete. They bought them, and a few years later, these tools, the ones that designers loved, started slowly disappearing. Adobe didn't evolve them. It absorbed them. Macromedia's identity was gone, buried under Adobe's branding. So when news broke in 2022 that Adobe was buying Figma, the designers community knew exactly what would happen. The same that happened with Macromedia. They feared history was about to repeat itself. Adobe wasn't trying to collaborate with innovation. It was trying to control it. In 2022, Adobe announced the boldest move in its history. They announced to buy Figma for a staggering $20 billion. At first, it seemed like a smart business play. Why compete with your biggest rival when you can simply own it? But the world didn't see it that way. Designers were furious at that time. They remembered what happened to Macromedia, and they feared that Adobe would do the same to Figma, buy it, and then slowly disappear it. Soon, regulators stepped in. In the United States, Lena Khan, the head of Federal Trade Commissions, had already made a name for taking on big giants like Amazon and Meta. Under her leadership, the FTCs, along with other authorities in the UK and the European Union, began to scrutinize the deal. Their concern was clear. If Adobe owned Figma, there will be no competition left in the design industry. Months of hearing, investigation, and global pressure followed, and in 2024, the verdict was final. The deal was collapsed. Adobe walked away, and Figma survived. Here's the twist. that collapse didn't hurt Figma. It made them even stronger. Figma wasn't just a design tool, it was a symbol of freedom, a company that even Adobe couldn't even take down. After the failed deal, Figma didn't slow down. They expanded with StickJam, Dev Mode, and other powerful AI features, while Adobe also expanded with its Adobe Firefly and other creative cloud tools. But the problem wasn't innovation. It was trust. Designers were feeling tired of paying subscription and fees every month. Figma, on the other hand, gave them flexibility and freedom. This battle isn't just about two companies. It's what about creativity made. As long as companies compete on who's best, it's us designers who will get benefit from it. Figma represents collaboration, openness, and speed. Adobe, on the other hand, represents power, legacy, and control. And as the next generation of designers rises, the balance of power is shifting. Maybe Adobe will adapt, maybe Figma will evolve, but one thing's for sure: the age of monopoly is over. Make sure to watch this video in which I have showed how Jensen Huang made NVIDIA a tech giant. Make sure to like and subscribe. Peace out.